Hello, I welcome you all with love, and we're going to do a little baby talk tonight. You'll understand it and appreciate it in just a moment. But first, we're going to do a little dancing to get the energy going. So let's start with a little prayer to merging the heart and mind, because that's what's needed today. Hashem Kud Kudashar Brihu, Ushinade, Bi'u Imulaya, Jamika Bavavke, Yudashal Hashem, Kozrael Kolok. Amen. Okay, great. So, before I get started, I want to thank Doug Diamond behind the scenes who makes this whole thing possible. So, thank you, Doug. So, what we're going to talk about is a baby's view of the world and what the research shows, which is really exciting, okay, is that babies have an inherent good morality. Inherently good. So it's a positive moral sense. That's very exciting. And that's really, really good. Because it speaks well for humanity. That's the point, okay? And with 87% success rate, babies can pick out a good human from a negative human. That also is very interesting. So we have that capacity, and they can perceive intention and fairness. So what do we know? The roots of morality are felt first, and then they're taught. And that is exciting. Because we're saying, in the beginning of our rebirth onto this planet, we start with inherently good, positive morality and a good, positive feeling about what's right and who are the energies that are positive and negative. That's huge. Once we understand that, we believe that the research shows that humans are inherently human, inherently good. By this approach, it kind of opens up a door to be able to really appreciate humanity and the positive aspects of humanity. So connected with that takes us into a variety of places. The most important, again, is that the morality starts good. Now, we're affected by our environment. We're affected by our teachers. We're affected by our parents. and it moves around. But we have a baseline of inherent goodness. Thank goodness for that. I'll put it that way. Okay? Now, I'm going to move the topic slightly over to, I'm going to say, longevity and well-being. And we know, for example, how powerful the mind is. So the research shows that when people have a positive outlook about aging, now we went from babies to aging here, that if you believe that you can get better, stronger, happier, and wiser with the years, it actually adds 7.5 years to your lifespan. That's amazing. But now we go back to the baby. It's all positive, and now here we are with, aging with the years, and we're still looking at very positive. But our mind creates it. Okay, that's the key. And so, wow, you can get stronger, smarter, more compassionate, more wise with age. And they did research on thousands of people. What they found, as it averaged out, that with age, like going into the 60s and 70s, people actually, 51% of the people either got better or stayed the same. So the negative thought that we lose something with age doesn't hold. That's huge. So our initial goodness as a baby, and then even with age, the years, all that is really there, and that we can actually add 7.5 years onto our life. That's pretty exciting. Okay? And so now, when we look at longevity, there's a few things that are important. Okay? Genetics turns out to only play maybe 10 to 30% of the story. Again, it's your attitude. Let's start with your attitude about yourself. And what I mean by that is that if you see that you're going to live longer, and you have a more positive attitude about what you're going to do, you're at much better service in the world. Your longevity increases. Now, the longest lived person that we know in recent history, who left his body in 1933, was Lin Chin Win. He lived to be 256. And he was an herbalist, and he ate some key herbs, the goji berries, the reishi, and the ginseng. And he had 23 wives over his long lifespan, and 200 kids, 200 children. So he was surrounded by positive people, positive thinking people. He had fresh air. He lived in the mountains, and as I said, was an herbalist. And so he created a longevity thing. But when he was really asked about it at the age 200, because they were beginning to celebrate him, he said the most important thing is a calm mind. The most important thing for longevity, according to him, was a calm mind. Obviously, the diet plays a role. What we do know is that Vegans generally live longer. Vegan women live 4.4 years longer, and vegan men live 7.2 years longer. Now, what's the difference? Well, because women are already living longer. In general, women live longer, and the research tends to show that when people are working together, and women tend to have more teamwork and have more cultural connections with each other, that tends to help people live longer. In fact, they did do research that people who go to church once a week have less chronic disease and also live longer. It's not just church, any religious group. So membership in a group, and women are more social. Now, what they did find is that when men in certain societies share the same cultural activities, so to speak, and connections, they lived as long as the women. Okay. What we also find, so that's an important point. We also find that married people live longer. Single women live the second longest, and single men, not in relationship, live the shortest. And so that's kind of research that supports it. But the people who live the longest are in relationship, they have less disease, and they live, longer. And that's very, very important. And there also research shows if people have sex once a week, it adds to the longevity cycle. So we have a diet, and generally, say vegan. What I recommend is I'm 100% vegan and about 90% live food, but at least 80% live food will give the most longevity effect. And then those herbs that I mentioned are classical herbs, and they're herbs I also take and enjoy as part of my research on it. The reishi, the goji berries, and the ginseng. They're all add to it. And so this is all really positive and important information to have. So we're looking at, in essence, a sense of well-being, a sense of understanding and feeling that you're going to get better with age, not age is a loss. And that's extremely important. The longevity is very much enhanced by your social group that supports longevity, by being part of a social group, marriage or long-term committed relationships. So that's obviously pretty important. Exercise is important. This man who lived to be 256 years, he also did breathing exercises, and he did a lot of walking and gardening type things. So exercise also plays a role. I mentioned the breathing because by the time a person is 70, if they haven't been doing breathing exercises, they lose 50%. They will have lost 50% of the lung capacity. I do breathing exercise at age 83. That's what I am now. I do breathing exercises 6 days a week. I do the yoga stretching 6 days a week. Also, the yoga asanas, what I'm talking about, balances the chakras, helps move the kundalini. So all those things are good. And general exercise is good. Also fasting. So we have a fasting workshop coming up, a 7-day fast in the Dominican Republic. And the research is that when people are fasting, they also are regular periodic fasting. They live longer. I've done research with exploring the toxins in people, and I found 26 toxins that were in a group of about 30 people. And after the first week of the fast, we got down 11 toxins. And by the second week of the fast, we got it down to 0. Now, that's pretty good news. And basically that and a few other things, we do fast, 7-day fast, twice a year to be able to get all the toxins we accumulate out of our system. So that's all pretty important. Now, meditating is also important. Research shows that if people meditate for just as short as 20 minutes a day, for 5 years, their physiology will be 15 years younger. That's impressive. So we have a head start as a baby. We are essentially good and have a good moral intent, can recognize good from evil in terms of people. And then we have these basic habits, very positive outlook, what we're doing, in service and charity, and wanting to help people, and but basically an attitude of longevity. And we live, as I said, 7.5 years longer. Just that. Plus, we don't see aging as going downhill, but we see it as expanding, getting wiser, stronger, and clarity. I just put out a video when I was 12. I did 61 push-ups, and that was more than anyone in school, 6th, 7th, and 8th grade did. As captain of an undefeated college football team, I did 70 push-ups. Okay. At the age of 60, I did 601 push-ups. And now at the age of 83, you'll see a video of me doing 1,000 push-ups, but I've even been up to 2,000. But what I'm saying is, yeah, you got to exercise, but you can get stronger. And the dancing helps coordinate the mind and the heart, but also this is very good for coordination. Okay, so it's very positive. So I'm saying you can get younger, more flexible, and stronger, and even quicker with age. So that's pretty exciting in the big picture. And relationships helps us live longer. We create the image of in a loving relationship of being loved. I am loved. I'm worthy of being loved. Now, in the initial part of the relationship, Eros plays a big role, because Eros is a sexual physical attraction. And then, unfortunately, about a third of marriages end in divorce, which is really high. But if we keep the Eros, it can help maintain over years and years and years. So, and I have made an effort to keep the Eros in my marriage relationship over really 38 years of relationship. And what am I doing to do that? See, so Eros usually kind of fades out after a few years, but if you see the relationship as sacred and you put energy into maintaining the sacredness of the relationship and ultimately the eros of the relationship, that sense of eros where you're secreting all the good hormones, the oxytocin and the dopamine, and the serotonin, all that keeps you younger in spirit and also physiologically. But more important, it's fun. It's fun to be in a relationship where Eros is playing a role, and no matter how old, young, long lasting the relationship is. So we emphasize the Eros part as part of it. And what we see is that if the couple has sex once a week, it's mean they're able to maintain that sense of Eros and all the hormonal support and the longevity support of how it works. So I've given you a few clues from being a baby. We're essentially good people, have good morality, can distinguish between good and bad people that come into our lives, and then how we maintain this in relationship, the Eros and the longevity and love, the deep love in relationship. Eros isn't quite love, but Eros adds and amplifies the love. And then we exercise, we eat a vegan diet and as much live food as you can, at least 80%. And we're heading towards a really good thing, and we exercise. So I exercise really 6 days a week. I do 1,000 push-ups every other day, but I'm doing abdominals and I'm doing a variety of things. And my wife and I take walks together, and we live a little bit on a big hill or a mountain. So we have walking up and downhill. It's really good. So you combine all those together, and you literally can get younger, stronger, more flexible, as well as wiser with age. So I'm offering this wisdom from a baby, because we're at the inherent goodness, into whatever age you're going to be. And I'll just mention that above 100, okay, so that one Chinese man was 256, but a study in Yugoslavia showed that if the people lived more than 100, 95% were vegan. So that is actually pretty important. One of the reasons, just to add to that, is 96% of the toxins are stored in the animal fat. So by eating lower in the food chain, you're less likely to get the accumulation that you do get with meat, fish, and chicken, and then dairy. So we have all of these things laid out for us in a good way. And final piece of advice, we want to, for some people, it sounds like a lot. Go one step at a time. Make one change at a time. Get solid with the one change, and then do another change. Get solid with that change, and then do another change. So you build it up. And the transition could be a month, it could be a year or 2 years, but you can do it. That's the important thing. Have the intention to love yourself enough to want to heal yourself. Have an intention to make your relationship really work, because it's going to add years to your youthfulness and age. And have the idea that with age is not a loss, but is really a gain. 7.5 years to your lifespan. We can do it. And that's my gift to you. You can do it, and we can do it. Peace be with you. Shalom, shalom, shalom. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Om Tathagata. Also, we are having a fast. May 26th in Dominican Republic, a 7-day fast. That's a great way to get started on all this. Because once you fast it, you clear a lot of your food addictions by 3 or 4 days. And so you're freer. to do the highest level of that. So that's how you can sign up for the fast. Dr. Cousens, spiritualfast.com. Okay, so now you got a few hints to make your life really better. Peace be with you. Shalom, shalom, shalom. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Om, thank you, Asin and Doug. Thank you.